Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through some of the noise and hopefully bring you some insights that really help you feel well informed. Today, our mission is to explore, well, a really ancient source of wisdom. It's a text that's been quietly offering a kind of compass for navigating uncertainty for, gosh, thousands of years. Think of it maybe as a shortcut to finding an anchor, amidst all the chaos of modern life.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, we're diving into Psalm 46 today. And it's more than just old poetry. It's this really powerful song of trust. People have turned to it for ages during really tough times, personal struggles, even national crises. What's amazing, I think, is how this wisdom from such a different world still feels so relevant, so clear for us now. We'll unpack its core message and then, connect it right to your life.
Okay, great. Let's unpack this source material then. For someone maybe hearing about it for the first time, or, maybe you've read it but haven't really dug deep. What is Psalm 46 at its heart? What are those key themes that jump out? Why has it lasted so long?
Well, at its very core, Psalm 46 kicks off with this bold statement. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. It's just right there, up front, an assertion of unwavering support. And the psalm, it paints these incredibly vivid pictures, almost cinematic, mountains shaking, waters roaring, foaming, even whole kingdoms just crumbling. But it insists that right in the middle of all that chaos, there's this unshakable core of divine stability. It talks about God's ultimate control, his power over nations, over war, his ability to protect, his final victory over all the conflicts. Basically saying, look, no matter how wild things get, there's an anchor that holds.
That first verse really does set the tone, doesn't it? A very present help in trouble.
Mm.
It implies something active, right? Not just theoretical help, but someone right there with you when you need it most. So, okay, starting from that powerful foundation, what are the specific nuggets of ancient wisdom we can pull from this psalm? Things that still really offer insight today.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there are four main truths that really stand out. Each gives a slightly different angle. The first one is this idea of God as a constant refuge. Now, for ancient believers, this wasn't just like a comforting thought. It was how they saw the world. I mean, imagine a time without stable governments or modern safety nets everywhere. In that context, seeing God as a literal safe place, a real source of power, wasn't just spiritual. It was deeply practical. It gave them a kind of psychological, spiritual shelter during really scary times, invading armies, natural disasters, you name it. Yeah. So the wisdom here is that real security, it doesn't come from circumstances that change, but from something unchanging, someone dependable.
Right. So it's not just a feeling, it's this deep belief that you have a totally reliable sanctuary no matter what's raging outside. That seems to lead right into your second point about faith in the chaos.
Exactly. The second nugget is about faith in the midst of chaos. The psalm doesn't gloss over the hard stuff. It describes the turmoil very vividly, though its waters roar and foam, though the mountains tremble. But then it insists on staying unshaken through trust. And the really profound wisdom here, I think, is that peace isn't found by, escaping the trouble. It's not about the absence of problems. It's found through God's active presence in the middle of them. That's a huge distinction, right? Because we naturally want to find comfort by getting rid of everything uncomfortable. This song invites you to find that inner stillness, even when the world is loud, because the source of stability is still right there with you.
That really is a powerful reframe. Because, we spend so much energy trying to eliminate the chaos, not find peace within it. Okay, what's the next insight?
The third point of wisdom is God's sovereignty over nations. And this was pretty revolutionary thinking back then. Lots of ancient cultures believed in gods who were kind of moody or just random fate. Empires rose and fell by sheer might or luck. But Psalm 46 suggests something different. It says that all the political upheaval, wars, no matter how scary they seem, are ultimately under God's overarching control. Ancient Israel saw history less as random events and more like a story with a purpose, guided by divine authority. This gave them a profound sense of security and meaning, actually. It meant that even the biggest empires or worst conflicts weren't just chaotic accidents. They fit into a larger God-guided plan.
And thinking about that perspective, an ultimate divine authority guiding history, that could definitely offer a different kind of calm when we look at today's world, right? With all the global tensions, it often feels like we're teetering on the edge. What's the final point of wisdom?
The final one, and maybe one of the most relevant for our super connected, always busy world, is the power of stillness. When the psalm says, be still, the Hebrew word used there, agrapha, it actually means something deeper than just being quiet. It implies ceasing striving, letting go, even sinking down. It's a pretty radical call to just release your grip, stop frantically trying to manage everything, and instead consciously recognize God's power, His authority. Now, this isn't about being passive or just giving up. It's more like an active, trusting alignment. It's saying, okay, I need to surrender my anxiety here and acknowledge God's in charge. I'm choosing to step out of the frenzy and declare, okay, I can't fix this, but I can be still and know that God is God. And that's captured perfectly in verse 10. Be still and know that I am God.
This is where it gets really interesting for me. How do these ancient truths, this constant refuge, peace and chaos, divine sovereignty, the power of stillness, how do they speak directly to our lives today with all our very modern challenges? So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? Specifically, how can we use this to, strengthen our trust and our relationship with God?
Yeah, this is where Psalm 46 stops being just an old text and becomes a living guide, really. First off, that idea of God as a constant refuge, that's huge for finding emotional stability in unstable times. We are just bombarded, aren't we? Constant news alerts, social media, disasters, change. It's relentless. Psalm 46 encourages us to actively find our anchor in God's unchanging nature. So to strengthen your trust, your relationship with God, maybe consider this. Make a conscious choice. Before you dive into the news or social media or even your massive to-do list, take a moment, just a moment for prayer or quiet reflection. It's a tangible way of saying, okay, I'm relying on God first for my stability before the world tells me what to worry about. It sets your priority for peace.
That's practical. Yeah,
Yeah.
a simple but really powerful step.
Yeah.
It's about intentionally recentering before the day pulls you off balance.
Exactly. Then secondly, the psalmist's trust in chaos applies directly to maintaining faith during personal crisis. Whether you're dealing with a serious illness, or maybe you've lost your job unexpectedly, or relationship difficulties, things that shake your world. Knowing God is present and able to sustain you through that storm, well, that builds deep trust. Again, it's usually not about God instantly removing the crisis. It's about recognizing His presence in it is enough. So when you feel overwhelmed, instead of just asking, why me? Or how can I fix this? Maybe the psalm prompts you to ask, okay, how can I lean on God here? How can His strength show up in my weakness? That shift, it can really change how you experience the crisis. It becomes an opportunity to rely on Him more deeply.
Right. It's about recognizing that steady presence, that unbreakable thing, even when everything else feels like it's falling apart.
And third, that ancient call for stillness. It's incredibly relevant for choosing stillness in a busy world. I mean, our culture just rewards busyness constantly, right? Productivity equals worth. But Psalm 46 calls for these intentional moments of stillness, that ceasing striving. This might look like, I don't know, consciously turning off your phone for a set time each day, or maybe practicing some deep breathing while focusing on God's presence, or even just taking a few minutes to consciously say, okay, God, I acknowledge your control here, instead of trying to juggle everything yourself. Choosing to surrender that need for total control, even for a moment, it's a powerful act of trust in your relationship with Him. It's declaring His authority is bigger than your anxiety. You strengthen your faith by acting on it.
That's a tough one, definitely, in our always-on world. But so essential. It's like creating space for God to actually work instead of filling every second with our own frantic efforts.
It really is. And finally, applying that wisdom about God's sovereignty over nations that can guide us in seeking peace beyond politics. There's just so much global tension, division, conflicts that seem impossible to solve. We can apply the Psalm's wisdom by, say, actively praying for leaders, praying for peace, and also by trying to be peacemakers in our own lives, our own circles. Understanding that God's ultimate purposes aren't stopped by human conflict, that they're actually unfolding through history that strengthens our faith in His big picture plan. It helps shift our focus from despair or political anxiety, maybe, to a deeper trust in His eternal perspective. It cultivates a kind of peace that doesn't depend on headlines or election results.
Wow. What a truly powerful deep dive into a text that's, thousands of years old, but just speaks with such incredible clarity to the stress and uncertainty we all feel today. It's such a profound message about finding strength, finding peace, not by avoiding turmoil, but right there in it.
Indeed. It's just a timeless reminder, isn't it? That God is a constant refuge and ever-present strength. And sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do when faced with overwhelming challenges is simply to choose that stillness, to cease the striving, to surrender our anxieties to Him, knowing He is God. So as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe ask yourself, how will you apply these insights in your own life? How will you use them to strengthen your trust in your relationship with God, especially when your own mountains start to shake?